It's April 1st, 1984, and the music world is in shock. One of its biggest stars, Marvin Gaye, has been shot twice in the chest, executed by his own father. The 44-year-old singer, songwriter, and producer has been a dominant force in the music industry for more than 2 decades, with hits like What's Going On, Let's Get It On, and Sexual Healing making him an icon. As the news of Marvin Gaye's death spread, fans around the world mourn the loss of one of music's greatest talents. But as the investigation into his death begins, rumors start to swirl that there is more to the story than initially meets the eye. Let's recap. Thanks for watching True Crime Recaps. I'm Chris with all the crime in half the time. On the surface, it seemed like a tragic case of domestic violence. Marvin Gaye had been arguing with his father, Marvin Gay Sr, in the family's home in Los Angeles. But things quickly escalated and the argument turned physical. Marvin Sr retrieved a handgun that his son had given him as a gift and shot him in the chest. Marvin Gaye was rushed to a nearby hospital, but on the warm afternoon in April 1984, he was pronounced dead on arrival. He would have turned 45 the next day. The world was left to wonder what could have led a father to kill his own son. Despite the apparent simplicity of the case, investigators were immediately suspicious of Marvin Sr.'s story about self-defense. For one thing, there were rumors that the relationship between Marvin Gaye and his father had been strained for years. His mother, Alberta, says his father hated him before he was even born. Marvin Gay Sr. was a minister with the Hebrew Pentecostal Church in Washington, D.C. He and his family were members of the strict House of God Christian congregation. The group was known for their stance against worldly sins, banning makeup, movies, television, and even sleeveless dresses and open-toed shoes. Despite the beliefs he preached from the pulpit, Marvin Sr. was a cross-dresser, womanizer, and a mean drunk who frequently beat and starved his wife and kids, especially Marvin Jr. From a young age, he showed an extraordinary talent for music, even though his father tried to beat it out of him. By his late teens, he had caught the attention of Motown Records. In the 1960s and 70s, Marvin Gaye became a household name with hits like Ain't No Mountain High Enough, I Heard It Through the Grapevine, and What's Going On topping the charts. But despite his successes, Marvin spent his life plagued by personal demons, secrets, and lies. When Marvin Gaye got famous, he added an E to his last name to distance himself from his abusive father and to shut down any speculation about his homosexuality. He struggled with addiction and mental health issues, including several attempts to end his own life. By the early 1980s, Marvin was heavily in debt and losing his battle with addiction. In a bid to kick the habit once and for all, he moved into the Los Angeles mansion he had bought for his parents. He was twice divorced and coming off a stressful U.S. tour to promote his hit single, Sexual Healing. Bodyguards surrounded him wherever he went, and he always wore a bulletproof vest on stage. He had premonitions that he was going to be poisoned or shot to death, but little did he know death was waiting for him at home. Investigators began to piece together the events of that fateful afternoon. Marvin Jr. and his father had gotten into a heated argument, which escalated into a fist fight. Marvin Sr. claimed he shot his son in self-defense, but the evidence suggested otherwise. This is what happened shortly after noon on April 1st, 1984. Marvin Sr. was screaming at his wife, Alberta. He thought she'd misplaced some insurance papers. Marvin Jr. ran into the bedroom to protect her, just like he used to as a kid. He pushed and hit his father until he left the room, but it wasn't over. Marvin Sr. came back into the bedroom holding the .38 revolver Marvin Jr. gave him for Christmas. Very calmly, he walked up to him and pulled the trigger, shooting him twice in the chest at point-blank range. According to Alberta, Marvin Sr. didn't say a word, even as his son screamed and slid to the floor. His last words were allegedly, "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it." 1 hour later, Marvin Gaye was pronounced dead. When police questioned him about the shooting, they asked if he loved his son. All he could say was that he didn't dislike him. In court, Marvin Sr. stuck to his story. He shot his son in self-defense because he was afraid of him. Doctors later discovered a brain tumor in his pituitary gland. It was benign, but some say the murky circumstances of the shooting, combined with his failing health, helped convince the courts to go easy on his sentence. He was found guilty of voluntary manslaughter and walked away with a 6-year suspended sentence. He died of pneumonia in 1998. He was 84. The lyrics in Marvin Gaye's hit song, What's Going On, seem to hint at the tragedy to come. They go like this: Father, Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some lovin' here today. And that's your recap.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
If you like getting all the crime in half the time, go ahead and tap that subscribe button and the bell so you never miss a story.
We're here Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays, but don't go away. Catch up on more recaps right here, right now.
Until next time, take care.